Hello, class, and welcome to our video review of the extended definition body paragraph drafts. Um, as we've been discussing, it's all about the critical thinking strategies to help analyze literature while evaluating the secondary sources to synthesize, right, your analysis of the fiction and your evaluation of the secondary sources with your extended definition of the issue to create your academic argument, your extended definition argument. So ideally, when you think about each body paragraph, you should have that transitional or topic sentence starting it, right? And then either the transitional or the wrap-up sentence at the conclusion for coherence, right? That sense of flow. And the body of the paragraphs, right, should be the evidence and analysis that supports, right, your claims about the issue, the elements of fiction, the character analysis, the examples, what have you. So much like we did in essays 1 and 2, make sure that your body paragraphs have, right, those main ideas, right? The topic sentence, the details, and then that transitional or concluding sentence. And with the details, you want to have facts, you want to have examples, you want to have quotes, you want to have citations, both quotes from the fiction and quotes from the secondary sources. Okay, so let's make sure we should have at least one quote per body paragraph, since it is carefully structured research. It's our academic argument. And you also want to make sure that you're quoting from the literature throughout the essay, analyzing the literature throughout the essay, the fiction. So first up, Richie, I thought you did a nice job with these body paragraphs, right? Good job bringing in the quote, but again, make sure, right, you do a nice job setting it up. Make sure you cite by paragraph number if it's an electronic source. That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold, with which quenched them hath given me fire. Again, nice job bringing in the Macbeth quote, but make sure you put the slash between the lines, just like you would as if it were a poem. And for further information on that, pages 50 to 52 in Reading and Writing About Literature tells you how to cite, right, both lines of poetry and or lines from drama if they're numbered lines, right? So whenever anything is written in verse, numbered lines like a poem or the Shakespearean plays, you cite by line number and you put a space, a slash, and a space in between each line to indicate the line breaks, right? So act 2, scene 2, and then put another dot and then give me the line number. So it's probably gonna be like 2.2 point, and this is a 2-line quote, 7 to 8, something like that. Remember, if it's 4 lines or more, you have to block cite it. Again, very clearly explained on 50 to 52. Greed got the best of him through the manipulation of alcohol. Again, the notion of critical thinking and alcoholism and addiction are 2 of the words on our choices from pages 117. And again, these terms are in the book, Writing Logically, Thinking Critically. So how can the characters in your analysis of your issue have used critical thinking strategies like Occam's razor, Rogerian strategy, dialectical thinking, avoiding hidden assumptions, using logos, being humble as opposed to embracing hubris and letting hubris fuel their illogical decisions. So nice analysis, Richie. Good feedback too, John. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Good background on alcohol. Yeah. Nice comments, people. Ooh, John the Shining. I like it. Yeah. And his struggles with addiction. Yeah. Drug culture. Yeah, it's a good paragraph. Good job, Charters, paragraph 2. Nice job setting the quote up. Just put a comma right here in between the last name and the paragraph number. No need for that comma here because it's just a name and a page number. Now here you have a complete sentence coming before the quote. Jack Torrance's character struggles with recovery much throughout the story. You might want to change the wording there, but again, I like the paragraph. It's very clear in your analysis. So keep up the good work. Just change this comma to a colon here because it's a complete sentence. And when it's just a name and a page number, you don't have to put P for page. You just put the name and the number, no comma, because it's just a name and a number. When it's two words back to back, charters, comma, paragraph, and the abbreviation for that. Drinking stress and problems were no match for Jack's hesitation and resisting. Ooh, nice. The consistent thoughts make this plural of drinking stress and problems. Yeah, nice feedback as well. Yeah, no need to apologize, Morgan. It's just a draft, right? That's the beauty of these paragraphs. Not only are we sharing our ideas so that we can get feedback from each other on things that we might need to change, but it's also important to share your ideas so everybody can learn from and understand what you're doing well. So keep up the good work, everybody. So far, I'm really pleased with the paragraphs. And again, they're drafts, so it's okay if you need to make changes and edit and revise. That's what the process of writing is all about. As we know, it's the fantasy of the uninitiated to think that you're just going to crank it out the first time. Remember that from that quote, The Child's Draft. I believe it's on page 10 in Writing Logically, Thinking Critically. Anne Lamott says it's the fantasy of the uninitiated. Writers just crank out a perfect piece of writing in one sitting. All right, Morgan, I think you do a nice job in this paragraph. I think you have a lot of really good ideas, which would make anyone mentally ill if dwelled on for long enough. Absolutely. How could critical thinking help him better deal with these illogical thoughts? I love the idea of saturated with symbolism. Ooh, maybe a possible phrase for the title. His plot. Now, Hamlet, do you mean the play? If so, put it in italics and say the plot of Hamlet. Now, if you say Hamlet's plot, it almost makes it seem more like the character. So I think you mean the plot of Hamlet takes a turbulent path from the beginning with Hamlet's encounter with his father's ghost. Beginning with Hamlet's encounter, encountering his father's ghost, rather than with Hamlet's encounter with. So again, when you're proofreading, you want to proofread for word choice and sentence structure and all that. But again, your ideas are fantastic. You've definitely got the critical thinking concept down. Just make sure, Morgan, that you're adding, a quote from either Hamlet or a quote from your secondary sources, or even better, maybe both. What I would suggest people is that you possibly have a quote from the fiction that you're analyzing in each of your body paragraphs, and then try to have at least one quote from each of your secondary sources. A nice feedback too, John. Yep, work in progress. No worries, Tommy. It's all good. That's the whole point. Yep. Nice use of the semicolon. Again, your ideas are well put here. Keep up the good work in terms of the analysis. But again, bringing those secondary sources in, that carefully structured research, quoting from the poem, that's what's going to make it an academic argument. Now, if I may, right, make sure that you put the comma inside the quotation marks there after the title. Nice feedback, Sua. Well done. Right. I rewrote the intro and thought, yeah, okay, yeah, no worries, Jessica. And again, that's totally cool that it's a work in progress. Yeah, the notion of spinster, again, same idea with feedback that I've been giving everybody in terms of in-text citations. No worries, you can go back and get the page and numbers later. Their mother's, right, obsession, put an apostrophe there. Identity crisis, wanting to be your own woman, wanting to fall in love. Nice analysis, absolutely. An identity crisis is something that's a wonderful topic to look at from a character standpoint, as identity is one of our abstract terms. Again, you do a really nice job here with examples and details, right? Since that's a page number, it would just be Austin 14. You don't need the comma there. Let's look at your transition. Based on Darcy's immature ego and Elizabeth having a constant inner battle with losing her female identity to a secure and unloving marriage, right? Based on This puts these two through personal reflection and learning to let go of character flaws and judgment. Yeah, right. When you start with that based on, just kind of make sure that the sentence has a bit of a flow, because if you're going to say based on, you want to explain that. But good job. Nice feedback, Morgan, as well. Josh, nice work on this paragraph too. Perhaps the connection, absolutely. It's a wonderful sentence, right? A nice feedback there. I liked how you kind of quoted in your feedback as well. Again, so a lot of you are doing a nice job in your feedback as well as in your paragraph. So keep up the good work. Sean, no worries. It's a work in progress. Totally fine. Okay, life is precious. So now, again, you want to make sure that you're writing about fiction. Are you writing about a poem? Are you writing about a story? Are you writing about a play? What is the term that you're going to focus on too? Is it identity? Again, I'm not really sure as far as what term from page 117 you're focusing on. So again, you have some really good ideas, and could you relate this to identity? Could you relate this to other terms? Perhaps, because they do relate to the human experience in life. But you want to make sure that you pick one of the terms from page 117. And again, as I've been saying, if anybody has any questions about this essay, please make sure you contact me, because you need to do an extended definition of one of those terms. And again, good points here. Is it perhaps, maybe, are you writing about depression or something along those lines, and how people need to value life and not get caught up in depression and use critical thinking skills to avoid it? Again, we want to make sure that we're all focusing on a term from 117 and looking at Dania's paper here. Great job. I like how you, right off the bat, right, you're bringing in the notion of depression. I found an article. Okay, just try and be more specific. Again, paragraph 14, good job setting it up with the, right? So for this one here, if it is this article, then just kind of state that rather than saying I found an article and then going on to the source. Maybe combine those ideas, but nice job citing it. Good job with this as well. Again, it's okay that it's not fully developed. The key is you're bringing in quotes, commenting on the significance of those quotes, and you're going to relate your analysis of the play of Hamlet and Hamlet, Gertrude, and Ophelia to better understand, because they portray symptoms of depression. Again, but we want to go beyond the definition of depression. What do we learn about it, and how does it relate to critical thinking skills and strategies as a useful way to learn more about the abstract term? I mean, think of it this way. We all agree that depression is sadness. Question is, how does one overcome it? How does one deal with it? How does one work through it? Well, I think a logical way to work through many of life's problems or many of life's psychological issues is through critical thinking skills. And remember, philosophical counseling, I've mentioned this on multiple videos. You can use this book as a source and quote the notion of philosophical counseling on page 60. Remember, philosophical counseling teaches its patients critical thinking skills so they can better understand why things are not going as planned in life. Because ideally, when you go to therapy, right, trying to figure out what's up. So that being said, nicely done. Just make sure that we're kind of continuing along that path. Great story to analyze. Those of you that enjoy Kate Chopin, Sua, nicely done. I thought this was an extremely well-developed paragraph, and you did a great job citing your sources. Just make sure to cite by the title of the document if there's no author listed, rather than the book or a database or website you got it from. Again, these paragraphs are fantastic. She is devastated and heartbroken that she writes to her mother, I shall die, I must die, can I be so unhappy and live? Perfect citation, great way of setting the quote up. Nice transitional sentences at the end of your paragraphs, nice topic sentences. Keep up the great work. Yeah, wow, this is powerful. Great point, right? Great work, great point, right? Josh, nicely done here with the notion of intellectual and psychological maturity. Your definitions are set up well. Good job citing the Oxford English Dictionary. This is something that we can all learn from. When you cite a dictionary citation, you put the abbreviation DEF, and then if definition 1 or 2 or 1A and B. For those of you that might not have used the Oxford English Dictionary, I highly recommend it as a secondary source for this essay, as is suggested on page 118. Remember, on page 118, there's quite a few bullet points in terms of strategies that we can use for developing our body paragraphs. And I think that everybody's body paragraphs do a nice job so far of getting started and beginning to demonstrate those strategies, looking at definitions, looking at connotations, looking at euphemisms, drawing analogies, using dialectical thinking and looking at contrast. So again, keep up the good work, bringing in the critical thinking strategies like Rogerian strategy and Occam's razor, and avoiding hidden assumptions, and using logos as opposed to hubris, and all the things that I've been discussing in the various videos as related to not just this essay, but all of them. Because again, all of the essays are related to the human experience. So what do we learn about life, specifically one of the issues from page 117, and use your analysis of fiction to support your claim about that abstract term in your extended definition. As we read here in classes 1 and 2, when we read literature, we learn about life. And when we write about literature, we write about what we think about life and the human experience. So what is the point that you want to make about, pepper in your word, identity, depression, right? Addiction, alcoholism, and how are you going to prove it? By analyzing fiction. So Samuel, nicely done here. I like the idea of Glengarry Glen Ross. Now here, notice how you have the complete sentence, right, before the quote. So instead of a period, change that to a colon, right? Nice citation, nice comment on the citation, puts this debate on center stage, right? Great morality issues in terms of business, the win at all costs attitude. So are you looking at the notion of, which term? Again, are you looking at identity or maturity? So again, let's all make sure that we're picking a term from the list on page 117. And if you want to choose a different term, make sure you talk to me about it, because I think a lot of these body paragraphs that haven't necessarily reflected on a term specifically could easily become paragraphs that support right, one of those abstract terms, and you have quite a few to choose from. And when in doubt, identity is something that we can all kind of in some ways write about when we're doing our character analysis. Sydney, nicely done. I like how you're bringing in Lady Macbeth and the idea of alcohols. Perfect citation, 2.212, right? Nice job putting the words in quotes. You do a really good job not only of analyzing the play, but then synthesizing your analysis with your evaluation of the critics, which is exactly what our learning outcomes tell us to do, right? We analyze, we evaluate, we synthesize, we cite our secondary sources to demonstrate our rhetorical awareness, our global awareness of the human experience and what we learn about life and culture. Nicely done. I really liked how you brought it all together. This paragraph is a wonderful example of fulfilling the learning outcomes, analyzing literature, and making a point about the extended definition of our abstract terms. So luckily, we've got the best one here. We saved the best for last, as they say. This is definitely one of the best paragraphs, right? So you should be proud of yourself, Sydney, and everybody should take a look at this and notice how we have the quote from fiction, we have her analysis of the quote, we have the evaluation of the secondary source, we have the analysis of the secondary source, and then the synthesis with Sydney's own ideas to demonstrate the point that she's making. The consumption of alcohol metaphorically portrays the wicked woman she is capable of becoming, but it also reveals the type of man Macbeth denies and conceals himself to be. Heck yeah. Right? Consuming to murder depict the lack of and courage Macbeth acquires due to his awareness of the immortality with their intent. Ooh, nice sentence to end it off. Okay, so those of you that have not posted your body paragraphs, I will keep the assignment open longer than the original submission deadline. So hopefully everybody will have a chance to post their body paragraphs and to provide some feedback and responses on other body paragraphs. So not only can you share your ideas and get some constructive criticism, but you can also share your ideas and others can see what you're doing well and you can see what others are doing well. So the educational process flourishes. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you have any questions and write with confidence.